Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. It is Monday, October the 21st. Now, today I have a few announcements. The first things first, next Monday, we will not have Ask the Nanny. Hi, Toya. Instead, next Tuesday morning, we are going to have a special broadcast. I am going to be interviewing, Sarah Atkins. And it's going to be at 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, the 29th. And that would be like 2 o'clock. I think London time, because she's in London. That's why we're having a special broadcast, because we are traveling overseas next week. I'm so excited. Okay, so if you don't know her, she is the parent guru. She is the parenting expert for Disney Junior in the UK. She has written several books. She is an author. She's a broadcaster. She has a podcast. She is just starting to work on films with... Okay, let me adjust this because I can't see myself. It's like everything is coming right here, scrolling up. Thank you, Victor. Yes, I am well. The tornadoes, I'm just about to get to that. But next week, again, we will not have Ask the Nanny on Monday night. We will have it on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I know a lot of you will probably be on your way to work or either at work. But with the time difference and us traveling overseas and having a conversation overseas, it will be posted on my page. It will be posted on the Ask the Nanny page so that you can come back and watch it. There is probably plenty to view with her. I talked to her on the phone, and it was just, we could have talked all day, but we won't do that here because we only have an hour. So I am going to remind you all of this next week. And last night, oh my gosh, was a horrific night for some of my families that I have worked for in the past, some of my newborn care specialist families. A tornado ripped through Dallas and Richardson and Rockwall, and it just started and it just went for 18 miles. And it tore up a lot of stuff, a lot of houses. Thankfully, there were only 3 people that were hospitalized with minor injuries, but there are a lot of people here that have roofs torn off, trees are in the yard. Highways were cut off today. Major highways, interstates were cut off today, blocked off because of the damage that happened here last night. I live on the outskirts of where all this happened. So we only got rain and hail and a lot of lightning, and it wasn't even on the radar that it was supposed to rain. So I was like, where did the rain come from? But then when I started hearing all the reports, and some of my NCS sisters were out there driving in it and didn't realize what was going on until it was too late. And I thank God that they're safe and they took shelter, but we need to pray for these families. And if you can offer your help for these families. It was just devastating to see the pictures and everything that was going on. I could not believe it. I was just totally so yes, let's pray for the families. I am still recuperating from Nanny Palooza. Yes, it was a fantastic weekend last weekend from Nanny Palooza, and I can't wait for next. Now that I'm kind of back on track, I can't wait for next year to happen. Go figure. So, but next year we're gonna have two Nanny Paloozas, and up next this year that I know of is the Nanny Ball that's happening in New York City on December the 7th. All the tickets are sold out. But if you go on My Nanny Circle and you answer the survey, there may be an extra room added. So there may be extra tickets being sold. But you have to go on My Nanny Circle Facebook group to answer the survey, because if there's not enough interest, there won't be another room opened up. So I advise you, if you want to go, get there now. And well, wait, after the show, go and get there, so you can answer the survey and see if you can get that other room opened up for us. Okay, so yes, take care of, oh my gosh, sorry, there's a mosquito roaming around me, and I'm allergic to mosquito bites. I think I got him. Sorry. It just kind of distracted me. But let me see if I can find our special guest for tonight. I think she may have gone to the wrong page. Let me search for her and send her a message. Uh-oh. It would help if I spelled her name right. So, Miss, if any of you all know Miss Maria, okay, it's not giving me, oh, there we go. Okay, I sent one, because I don't see her on just yet, unless I missed it. Let me scroll back up. Nope. I think she may have gone. She's a new guest on the show, and I think she may have gone to my other page instead of this page. So I just sent Maria an invite to come. So while we're waiting on her to come, okay, I just heard back from her. And let me answer her. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So, anyway, tonight we are going to be talking about self-care. Check. Because I realized after I got back from Nanny Palooza, I needed one. There she is. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
Good. I was just telling them about what we're doing tonight. We're doing a self-care check-in because after I got back from Nanny Palooza, I was fit to be tied. I was just exhausted. I think I slept 10 hours from Friday night to Sunday night, and I didn't get, my flight was delayed, and I didn't get back until 10, 11 o'clock that night. So 10 hours of sleep and 175 nannies and everything that was going on, and you're trying to get to everything, and everybody's doing something, and you just want to be involved in everything, but you can't. So after traveling all year and doing all the nanny stuff, all the NCS stuff, all the things, I needed a break. And so I was like, you know what? This morning I got up and I went walking, and I got my adrenaline. I like to call it happy juices. I got those happy juices going, and I felt a whole lot better.
Yes.
But then it kind of went wah 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 about the middle of the day. I was like, I need a nap.
Mm-hmm.
So when the baby went to sleep, I went to sleep too.
That's
so
it.
You have to take care of yourself. And when you feel that drain coming out of you, that just everything is being pulled out, take a break. redo your mind, do whatever you need to do. Take a breath, take a break. Um, I'm waiting on. I ordered some. What is it called? Kombucha, which, gosh, if you all have not had kombucha, there's a certain flavor that we had at Nanny Palooza. It's called Main Squeeze. It's got lemon, ginger, and something else in there. Oh my gosh. They kept us stopped, but we kept running out because we had like 5 or 6. I had like 5 or 6 in my bag. I took it to the room. I was drinking it. It was the bomb. So, um, please introduce yourself and let everybody know what you do and your business. And then we'll get started on our self-care checkup.
Yes, thank you. And first of all, I'm safely tucked here in New York City. So my heart is going out to everybody who's dealing with this crazy. I've been watching and seeing this footage, and I hope, pray everybody's okay. And what a time for self-care tips for caregivers, Miss
Yeah.
Angela. I
Yeah.
mean, even more, it's like we use the metaphor. Well, first of all, I'm Maria Corola, and I am a health and life coach for moms and for women. And also, it's funny, two of my clients who just signed up this week, one is a Manny. Yes, I said Manny with an M. And the other one is also a man who's a pre-K teacher, and he's dealing with some serious burnout, and he's also the oldest of 9 kids. So I use the term mom in a very loose way. We mom in all kinds of ways. And when we give
Yes.
ourselves to other people, um, that's a lot. So I help people get their, what my tagline is, I help modern moms get their village back. So it's quite fractured in this day and age. I also am a mom myself, and suffered when I had my first child and my second. I had very severe postpartum depression, which went undiagnosed for, it was back to back for 3 years and was undiagnosed that whole time. It was actually largely in part to a nanny. So I was struggling to such an extent. I did finally get a babysitter nanny to help me, and she was able to do all the things that you're supposed to do when someone is in distress without calling it out. She was able to say, "You're a great mom," and take an extra hour, and we got this, and that kind of thing. And it allowed me to go to a doctor's appointment and get help. Um, so I'm also a maternal health advocate. That's what happened after that. I couldn't believe that this is the state of our maternity health system in America. So I became an advocate, helping to change some of the policy and talking about my experience, which, by the way, has changed a lot in 13 years. There's a much more awareness, but it's still very much an issue. And I am also an ambassador for a nonprofit organization that is trying to change policy and legislation, and one story, one town, one neighborhood, one state at a time. We're trying to flip it. So this is self-care is, I'm also a single mom. So self-care and I go way back. And when I speak to clients, I'm always drawing from my own toolbox. I always say that I cannot take anybody anywhere that I haven't gone myself. So I would never lead someone down a path, especially in the self-care department, that I haven't gone down myself. So these are not only tried and true tips and advice from a professional certified health and life coach and maternal health advocate, but also from a mom of 14 years who's gone through it, and also has benefited so greatly from having another caregiver in my life. Even before I'm divorced, but my kid's dad really wasn't around very much because his schedule was grueling with work. So I was kind of in the trenches on my own until I called in help. And that first line of defense was 100% a caregiver to help me. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you, Angela, for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad you came. I'm
Yeah, me too.
glad you agreed to come on because
Yeah.
it's sometimes we don't realize what we need until somebody else comes in and says, you need to take a break. You need to do this. You need to do that because we're so off into it. and
Yeah.
into the stress factor that we can't see. I need to de-stress. I need until we just kind of just collapse. And we
Yeah.
don't need to get to the point of where we collapse because it's sometimes it's a long time coming back from that
Yes.
collapse. And sometimes, the stress leads to bad health, heart disease, especially in women. It leads to heart disease. It leads to um, obesity. Because we comfort eat or we stress eat or a lot of things happen from just overworking, not taking care of yourself, not just taking a woosah moment. So I try to,
Yeah.
to recognize that, and I realized that, really, really realized that after I got back from Nanny Palooza. And I know it was probably because I was so nervous. I was like, okay, I'm teaching the class. Okay, I gotta make it right. Okay, I gotta do this. It's totally different teaching a class than it is being here on Ask the Nanny and just talking, because this is family, and that's family too, but it's in a different capacity. It's a we're talking back and forth. We have an everyday conversation, as opposed to I'm in the classroom and I'm teaching, and I'm giving instruction. So it's totally different when you are just having a conversation with your girlfriends than it is when you are stressed out. I'm like, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing that right? Am I doing this? Did I remember to say this? Did I remember to say that? Yes, that is stressful for me.
Yep.
But after it's over with, I'm good. So I think it was the stress plus the no sleep that got me. So I needed, I knew that I needed it. And that's why I reached out for a self-care guru, because I'm like, well, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something different that I am not doing that I could be doing. So in walks you. And let me say this right quick. This is not going to be the only self care checkup. Every 6 to 8 weeks, we are going to have someone different that's going to do a self care checkup with nutrition, mental health, finances, emotional health. We are going to have a regular 6 to 8 week self care check in, because it takes about that long for it to wind all the way up, and we don't want your spring to go. We want to unwind it and then give it a chance, not necessarily to wind back up, but the more we keep it unwound, the more grounded we stay, the more peaceful we stay, the less stressed we are. So I'm gonna shut up now and let you have the floor.
Don't ever stop talking. You're saying all the right things. And I think, well, first of all, stress and sleep. I mean, there's sort of, friend and foe, right? But stress is a huge factor. It's a huge issue. Our country has never been so stressed before. We are the most stressed of, in almost all the world. It sounds like it's an exaggeration. It's really not. We have more chronic stress, chronic disease, obesity, heart disease than ever. And so stress is a tricky thing because it wasn't until I got into really studying, learning the way that our body responds to stress. So as a coach, we're learning the way that our brain responds. And our brain is actually kind of primitive in a way. It does what it thinks you want it to do. So if you're in a stress anxiety mode for whatever reason, nervous, anxious, stressed, your body's like, okay, I got to help her out, and goes into fight or flight mode. It doesn't know that a lion's not chasing you. It doesn't know you're at Nanny Palooza with not enough sleep. It's just saying like, oh, I'm getting this message because this is the response. This is what's firing. And so it sends out the fight or flight situation response, which essentially is cortisol. And too much cortisol, that's the stress hormone. And that is, you ever see people who have super skinny arms and super skinny legs, and then they got a big old bump on their belly? And I don't mean a pregnancy bump.
Right.
That is usually due to stress, where even people who exercise and they eat well and they just can't get rid of that belly bloat, it's
Wow.
often where our body we hold stress all over the place, but in our bodies, and you brought up kombucha, which is great. You're very intuitive, and that's a big tool in our self-care toolbox, is listening to our inner wisdom. And kombucha helps with our gut. It's a probiotic as opposed to an antibiotic. So it's putting back the good enzymes in our digestive system. And there's been a lot of talk recently about how the gut knows, and I don't mean trust your gut. That's important too. But our digestion and what goes on and how our body is processing and digesting the food we give it, the nourishment, is a really big factor. And when we are in fight or flight mode, our body is not focusing on, for example, digesting properly or sleeping properly or focusing properly. It's trying to get you away from the tiger or the lion that's chasing you. You know, that's where it comes from. So
lions and tigers and bears. Oh,
yeah, and it might feel like that in the moment, but it's a question of resetting. And I think you used the term, Angela, reframe. And one of the best ways to quickly reset your fight or flight, I'm being chased by a lion sensation, is to breathe. It really can take, yeah, there we go. Big inhale. And you know what? I'll give you an extra tip up front. The secret is in the exhale, because inhaling deeply is wonderful. But if we can hold the exhale a little bit longer, I have a special trick called the 5-5-7 breath. So we inhale for 5 seconds, hold it for, I can't talk and hold it, so I'm going to let my breath go. But so you inhale for 5 seconds and hold it for 5 seconds and exhale for 7. And what that extra 2 seconds does is it sends a message to your nervous system, the one that puts you in chasing lion mode, and says, oh, she seems to be relaxed now. I guess I should give her the relax response. The relax, we call it the feel and heal, or the rest and digest hormone. Our nervous system has 2 lanes. There's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic is the fight or flight. The parasympathetic, which we can switch on and activate very quickly, often with our breath, is what will bring everything down. And actually, in terms of, you brought up obesity, Angela, too. It's all connected. When our people think, we want to amp up our metabolism and keep going, it's actually in a state of relaxation when our body is burning the most calories. Yeah, because when we're in that fight or flight mode, all we're doing is trying to get to safety. If you think about it like like literally you're being chased, it's not worrying about how you're digesting your lunch or, absorbing that lovely chamomile tea that you took to try to relax. It's like, we gotta go. So when our body is humming along, think of it like a car. If you're racing at 85 miles an hour, you can't see anything to the side of you. You are just going straight ahead and putting a tax on everything on that engine. But when we are down to maybe 55 or 60 degrees, a more, a calmer speed, we not only are in better control of how we respond to other things around us, but we're also able to look around. We're more focused. We're more, calm across the board. So even with digestion, I mean, I've seen with clients where just using specific relaxation techniques, very basic, has helped remove symptoms of IBS and heartburn, constipation, bloat, all of these things because we sort of we're not allowing our body to do the thing that it needs to do. When it's in that stress, everything is seizing up. In addition to sleep, which is another, I think that we've hit now on 3 of the 3 biggest things that I hear is stress, sleep, and weight gain. And the food is connected, food is life. Everyone says that. We think about, what are we giving as a nanny, what are we giving the kids that we eat? Are we making sure that they're getting down for their nap in time? Are we making sure that their self-care routine is intact? we don't think about ours as a mom too, or any type of caregiver. It doesn't matter who you're caring for. It could be a dog or a plant. Chances are, or your car, we'll stretch it to inanimate objects. Chances are we are putting them higher on the priority list than we put ourselves.
Always.
So, and that was a big aha moment for me years after I was making the food for the kids, and I was monitoring what they were eating, and I was a hawk about their sleep, but yet I would just worry about them. And then once that time ended, once their day ended, I just was on autopilot. Forget it, bag of chips and, whatever the show was. And I was a happy camper. but, but, but that's not, and I don't like to, I'm not a big fan of depriving anybody of their special things. I think that when we completely remove the things that we love, whether that's binge watching or, a bag of chips or whatever it is, we can do that in moderation. It's a balance, right? And if one part is, there are many parts. If we can balance it a little bit and, give a reward in moderation, that's great. We only have one life. We still should be happy. And chips are delicious. So, there's that. But
I'm sorry. Yes.
So, with the sleep, what I find, and we're stressed, so we drink more caffeine, and then we get more amped up, and then we can't sleep. And so we can't sleep, so we get up and we think we're going to power through it, and we're warriors, and we only need 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and we can do it. And this is like on a good day. Maybe, I'm already up. Maybe someone says I'll go to the gym, and that does not equal success. The concept of like the more you do and the more you're doing, and that is not, it's a myth. It's another one of these myths that, the more productive we are, the better we are. No.
No. Hold on just a second.
Yes.
If you're watching, please hit the share button at the bottom so that your friends and your nanny, especially.
Oh, can I do that?
Yes, you can hit the share button too.
Okay.
Invite your friends to come and watch, because this is a checkup. Whether they are a nanny or not, invite them to come and watch, because we all need de-stressing from just life, period. Sometimes life just happens and you just going through. And sometimes it's a pile on and you're like, oh gosh, how in the world am I going to get out of this mess? So invite your friends, share with your friends so that they can come and watch and get some of these tips too. Because I like that 5-5-7 method.
I'm going to get to that. So, yeah.
You see a comment? Can you hear me?
I'm on a crazy delay right now. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're back.
Okay.
But you're frozen. Hold on. What's happening? Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Hello. Hang on. She disappeared. See if I can invite her back in. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Okay, so I don't know what just happened. It's Facebook. So that's all I can say. Facebook always does this. Okay, it says it's adding her. It says adding, but it's not doing anything. Okay, let me try this again. Let me go back up here. She says I'm here. Let me see if I can add her from here. Okay, I'm adding you again. Now it's connecting. Okay.
my gosh.
This is why I asked you earlier, what is the plan? I know Facebook.
We need to talk to Mark Zuckerberg about that.
I know
So,
the plan.
oh
And
my
I'm like,
God.
this is Facebook. So hey, it is
So
what
well
it is.
prepared.
Yes.
So the areas, like I was talking to myself just now. The main areas, when we talk about self-care, first of all, I want to put out a blanket statement that self-care has been getting a bad rap. Sometimes it gets a bad rap that it's selfish. And I just want to quell that myth right now. It is absolutely 100% not selfish, okay?
Right.
So the areas when we talk about self-care, and first of all, I want to say that self-care to me as a professional, as a human, because we all have to pay attention to self-care. Self-care is a conscious decision all the time to put yourself first, which for whatever reason may be very difficult for people because we're not used to that, especially if we're in a caregiver position.
Right.
So it's a conscious decision to put yourself first, and it's putting yourself first for your mental, for your physical, and your emotional health. So with that said, breaking it down into, we talked about stress, we talked about breathing, and another component that I like to add in here is mindset. I'm going to just go over the areas and then I'm going to backtrack. Sleep and relaxation, very important for self-care. And all of these can be achieved in a short amount of time. Nutrition and energy, movement and nature. Now, I know this sounds silly because I'm in New York City, so what kind of nature do I have? But it doesn't even matter. You can curl up with an indoor plant and open your window and it's going to be better than not. So it's that connection. And then we have our skin, which by the way is our biggest organ. And I mean, yeah, and you're gorgeous.
Thank you.
And social, yeah, we won't do that.
I'm sorry. Laughter is good medicine. That's all I can say.
100%, 1,000%. And that's also perfect for the last point, which is socialization and community. As caregivers, it can be extremely isolating. Not only is it a consistent, you're putting yourself on the back burner all the time to tend to your charges, or your family member who needs you, whatever it is. When caregiving, your role is to put someone else before you. So on those off hours, it's really important, and even during. And one of the things you said, Angela, was actually one of my tips, is to nap when the kids are napping. It's huge, a really big deal. And this isn't like a nap for 3 hours, don't set your alarm nap. Studies have shown that a 20-minute, once you fall asleep, now granted, it's kind of hard sometimes to decompress in the middle of the day and just, crash out, but a 20-minute power nap, and that doesn't have to be like a deep REM sleep where you're having dreams and so on. A resting state can work wonders. So the 5-5-7 breath, I saw a couple comments come in, is essentially a little trick. We're tricking our nervous system to get out of that fight or flight and into relaxation response. And what we're doing is we're breathing in for an inhale of 5 seconds, holding it for 5 seconds, and exhaling for 7. And in that longer exhale is when the nervous system switches from the fight or flight to the heal, feel, rest, reset, however you want, but into the relaxation response. An added bonus is something that we like to call the bumblebee breath, where let's say you're lying in bed, and take about 10 minutes. You're lying in bed at the end of the day. And by the way, try to no screens in bed and all of that. That's an episode unto itself.
Another topic.
Yeah. And I don't want to, paint the picture where we're sort of like on roller skates going uphill. Like, there are things we can do in our modern world, even little tiny fixes. So yes, we sleep with our phones next to our beds because we need to. I mean, well, good for you. If you can get a good old.
I made it a point to move my phones, and it's my nightstand. I used to put them there, but now I made it a point to move my phones away from my bed. I will literally have to get up out of the bed and take 10 steps to get to my phones, because it will buzz in the middle of the night, and I'll be tempted to just pick it up, and I'm on the phone all night having a conversation, just
Yeah, no.
texting.
So if you have to have it by your bed, if you use it for an alarm clock, or, I don't know, these phones are amazing and horrible at the same time. It's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes we don't have landlines. Sometimes that's our only form of communication. I know for me as a single mom, I if my kids are with their dad, I'm definitely going to keep my phone with me. I want to hear what's going on. We get it. That's a point of reality. Turn it into silent mode if you have to.
Right.
So you're lying there in bed at the end of your day, and you're going to take a few minutes. And by the way, the 5-5-7 breath works best if you do it in a cycle of 10 times. So that would equal 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Now, you can do the 5-5-7 breath, adding into this technique, this breathing toolkit we're going to create is the bumblebee breath, where on the exhale, you want to as if a bumblebee. And that actually allows you, we sort of naturally go beyond the 7 seconds a little bit further. And not only are we then tricking our nervous system to switch out of the stress mode into relaxation mode, but the vibration that we're creating within our throats and in our bodies is an added relaxer for us. Yeah. There's a breath in yoga. People talk about the ujjayi breath, and it's a lot of times it's also called the ocean breath. And it's when instead of we normally are inclined when we exhale to blow out, which I love. I like cue Frozen, let it go. You just want to float out. But apologies to anybody who's finally got that song out of their head. But
that one and Baby Shark.
Oh my God, yeah. So, which when I get in a cranky mood, I call that baby snark, but that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
So the vibration, but with the ujjayi breath, instead of exhaling out, we're holding it in. So we're creating that vibration within, and it almost sounds like when you're holding a seashell to your ear and you hear the ocean inside. It's this. And what it's doing, I won't do it now and scare you, but we're holding that in and breathing out very deeply, but keeping our mouths closed. And it creates not only a vibration, but it also warms up our body. Our breath warms our body. Remember, we're 98.6, give or take a few tenths of a degree. And that is kicking in our metabolism. And when our body is in that perfect state of relaxed balance, we are more productive, more focused, have more clarity. I say energy, you're thinking, I thought we were talking about going to sleep. But all of these things are giving us, putting us to the natural state where our bodies are designed to do what they do best, which is perform for us. So, and that goes into the ritual at night. If we can create, first of all, if your bedroom can be a bit of a sanctuary. I'm a huge fan of candles. There are, whether you have a scented lavender candle, whatever your favorite, if you have a go-to calming smell, or a smell that there's a lot of chamomile and lavender.
I like patchouli and vanilla.
Well, there you go. And if you associate that with calm and sort of that bliss state, making that part of your routine, even as you're doing your skincare routine or, brushing your teeth and getting into pajamas, taking that time, and it might be the first time for the whole day that you've made time for yourself. But if we're looking at, I say the 5-5-7 breath, you might do not the whole thing 10 minutes, but 10 times takes 2 minutes. And if you're really feeling fancy, you might add on some of these other deep exhalations and vibrations. That still, we're only at maybe 12 or 15 minutes on top of, I don't know. So if you can carve out 20 minutes is where I'm going a day. And often it's easiest for people to do it at the end of the day. And it's a natural time to wind down and to get into a sleep mode and create an environment for yourself that does not have screens, that is dark. So if you don't have, blackout curtains, or if for whatever reason, a basic sleep mask, you can get a CVS or whatever, cool temperature. So, I mean, I guess it depends on a person's own, some people are freezing or whatever, but generally our bodies do
Being cold.
best. Yeah, well, that's the state that we like, that our bodies are naturally
Okay.
attuned to, is to have it cool,
Okay.
dark, and quiet. And again, New York City over here, so I'm a big fan of earplugs. I mean, I'll just pull out the old lady earplugs and the sleep mask and put them right in. I can still, and you can get earplugs that are, what's the word I'm looking for, rated at different sound blockage. So, I mean, I'm not blocking out the world. I can still hear the alarm in my kids, but it's that little bit of a buffer. So you might not hear the car horn isn't quite as loud, or whatever it is, the cat's screaming or whatever. So to create that environment of cool, dark, and quiet is the best sleep. And also, studies have shown that the best time to go to sleep is by 10 p.m. Those are our natural rhythms. I just read a statistic or a fact the other day that before the light bulb was invented, before Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, people got 10 plus hours of sleep a night. Now we get 6.5 on average. So learning how to, dim things down, and maybe about an hour before bedtime. So let's say 9 o'clock or 9:30. Again, I'm not like a crazy, if someone wants to stay up till 11, stay up till 11. But the idea is to try to get 8 hours of sleep. That's optimal. And so given that we might start our day around 6 a.m., I think is 6:30, by 7 for sure, most people are up and about. So trying to wind down and use some of these rituals. Now, on the flip side of that, did you have a question?
Yes, we have a question.
Okay.
Carla wants to know, can you recommend a different method? Not everyone is spiritual or into yoga or meditation. So is there a different method?
You mean you're referring to the breathing?
I think
Because the breathing is something that, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all breathe.
yes.
So that is something,
because we have another comment behind that. It says breathing exercises aren't necessarily spiritual. Breathing exercises really do help reset the nervous system. I do them when caring for infants too, as it can help reset their nervous system too. Yes, I do that too. I breathe very slowly, especially with when newborns, because I'm a newborn care specialist. When I have a newborn on my chest, and my breathing is going like this, or I'm erratic breathing, they can tell it. But if I'm calm and I'm breathing and I have a soothing breath, a soothing voice, and I think that's why my parents call me the baby whisperer, because they listen to me, and I'm like, I didn't know you were listening to me. So I just kind of say, "Oh, you're okay. Everything's okay. I got you. We're going to go to sleep," and I just tell them what I expect of them. And just like that happens.
Yeah. Well, it is a tool, and we are able to kick that in very quickly. It takes about 2 minutes for that nervous system to reset. So other things, I mean, and by the way, not everybody is in a position at the time when we're in this mode of stress, like you started out saying at the beginning, Angela. It's like, sometimes when you're in it, you're not going to just be like, okay, time out, team. I just need to do an ujjayi breath. I mean, that just may not be happening. So, and that's real. So I think as we're going through, if during our days we can find a moment, whether that's to take a walk, if it's taking the kids outside to take a walk, nature, sunshine, even if it's raining, any connection and contact with fresh air is going to revitalize us. And it also gives us a natural reset. What we eat is also a huge factor. What we put in our bodies, and then, after, as a second part of that, identifying what foods, being very mindful of what foods are giving us energy and power and which ones take it away. So I spoke before about chips. Chips are sort of innocuous to me. They don't really, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't help the waistline, but, and I don't like gorge on them, but that those don't bother me. If I were to have a muffin, I get immediately dizzy and foggy headed, as an example. So usually things that we grab in a quick go-to way, whether it's one hand or whatever it is going to be something that is not only comforting but also probably full of sugar. Muffins, even bars, granola bars, all these sort of quick snacks don't necessarily, chips I'll throw in there, fine, don't necessarily give us the nourishment that our bodies are needing. So if we can pay attention, and everybody's different, every person is different. So to prescribe one nutritional, diet for one person may not work for another.
Right.
Some people can't go, they want carbs. They need carbs are fine. Carbs are good. Maybe if you have the option of having a piece of toast, make it whole wheat or whole grain instead of white toast. Or if you have a choice of a cereal, maybe use a lower fat milk or use a different milk type, like a nut milk or soy milk, whatever that may be, or yogurt. We have, and there are, again, it's a whole other episode. I think you were talking about nutrition and self-care. That's like a whole separate thing, but learning to even just note what foods make us feel really good and what foods make us feel less than, right? Or give us energy. That is important. Hydration is really important. Water can be again, it's a very simple thing. Drinking plain water can be plain old boring for a lot of people.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that.
And
Ugh.
yeah, and somebody brought up spirituality and yoga, and in that world, you're supposed to drink it all at room temperature. And I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work. You want it ice cold, and you want it when you.
Because in Texas, it's hot. I don't want room temperature water when I'm hot.
No. By the way, I'm a big tea drinker, and iced tea counts as hydration because it's predominantly water. I'm not going to put coffee in that category, but caffeine is a dehydrator. But if you can ice a nice herb tea, you're getting a lot of other benefits. Even black tea, and add a slice of lemon, you're going to get a little. It's better than not having anything at all.
Okay, see,
definitely.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's always better than having a soda or a flavored drink. The closer you can get to its natural state, the better.
See, my friend Paige is watching, and we had a tea party few weeks ago, and she brought this tea over that smelled like heaven. I was just like, I want that. She said, well, my friend's in England. I was like, I can't go to England and get this.
Well, I mean, if you were mentioning vanilla, and there was something, well, I don't know about patchouli tea, but vanilla, so you could even mix in some of the, do a 2-for-1.
Peach. I like
That's
peach.
Amazing too.
I like peach, and peach is one of my favorite. I like the Tivana. It's called peach tranquility. And it's a barely there taste, but sometimes I don't put sugar in it. I just drop it into some cold water and let it sit there for a while and just kind of swirl it around, and I just drink it like that. And it's like a water enhancer. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a water enhancer.
But drinking enough water, when we don't drink enough water, and again, if we think about our bodies as a machine, which essentially it is, we are predominantly made of water. And if we don't have enough of it, when we lose water all the time, we lose water through our skin, we lose, just as we go about our days, we are, not to mention all the things that we're putting into our body that have salt or caffeine or things that are removing that hydration. So drinking enough water, when we don't drink enough water, we can feel sluggish, blah, you're not focused, you don't have that clarity. So whatever that trick is to get more water in there, I recommend, you take a big bottle at the beginning of the day, and even if that needs to be cold, get an insulated bottle, put it in the refrigerator the night before, or just add a couple of ice cubes. There you go, perfect. If you add ice cubes to an insulated cup or bottle, you don't need to refrigerate it overnight.
All day long.
There you go.
If you listen, it still has ice in there from like 8 o'clock this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah. That's what I
And
send
I
my
just keep
kids to.
refilling
Yeah,
my cup with water.
right.
Oh, we
And you
have
can add lemon or grapefruit or whatever you want, cucumber, it doesn't matter, to enhance it. But the more you can do, and I think, ice, cold water, warm water, that to me, that's nitpicky. As long as you get the water, it really is a simple thing we have in our toolkit to protect ourselves from burnout. So it's
okay, I have
another,
a quick question.
okay.
Going back, Samantha wants to know, I think it was about the breathing. She said, do we do this right before bed or just at downtime during the day?
When you feel like the world, you're in that swirly space. That's what I, my thing. I'm like, you can do it anywhere, because it's just inhale and exhale. And when we're more mindful to our breath, we're more mindful to other things around us. There's the saying that we use in coaching that how we do anything is how we do everything. So when we start to reset one area, chances are slowly, and again, a lot of this is reprogramming our ingrained habits of rush, 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 and race, 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 race. But that breath of 557 can be done anytime, anywhere, and it's free and you can, use it anytime. I love to have a ritual at night in terms of sleep and to get into the sort of sweet spot, get your body ready for sleep, is if you can give yourself those 10 minutes or so of breathing, and you can combine it with, again, remove the screen, bring in a book or journal or draw. Another thing that also really helps with relaxation is coloring. So this goes back to on the job. So if you color with the kids, that's actually paint, color, but the specifically coloring has been known to help relax. So even if that's at night, I don't care, doodle. It doesn't have to be, we're not talking about Shakespeare here. We're not going to publish the journals, but just to unwind and create a ritual. create a
Sorry, I just thought about my journal and how thick it is.
I mean, journaling is a very helpful thing to help us just, people say leave work at work, and that's very hard anyway, but particularly with caregivers, these are humans. They're little humans that you're helping to shape, and you're part of a team and you're part of a family. It's very tough to think, to just leave it there. But if you can, even just the act of getting out of the chaos for a minute and doodle, draw, write a letter, make a to-do list. I don't know. Sometimes I write to-do lists with things I've already done just so I can cross it out because it feels good. You have a sense of like, oh, I did that. And you trigger something in your brain that's a little bit of a feel-good bump. And that then, I forgot, you called it happy juice in the beginning, right?
Yes,
And that was,
I
yeah,
love when I first started getting back into exercising a couple of months ago. It felt very good, and then life happened, and I was just all over the place. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so," and I realized just walking in the morning or in
yeah.
the evening, at some point in time in the day, it it energized me, and I
Mm-hmm.
had actually had more energy
Yes.
throughout the day or the evening or when I needed it than when I don't walk. And if I go a week or two without walking or exercising or doing anything, I feel it. I feel this
Yes.
drug. I get tired quickly, as opposed to if I'm walking and I'm building up my stamina and I'm building up that, okay, I got my adrenaline going, and then I
Yeah.
know that my body is like, okay, I'm missing that adrenaline rush. I'm missing all those happy juices and I realize that I am more productive and I have
Yes.
more creative juices in my brain. And I come up with all these crazy ideas, and my girlfriends are like, girl, where do you come up with this stuff? I'm like, I went walking. out.
That's it.
You
That's
know,
it.
I went
Yeah,
walking, and that was what happened. And I got all these juices going, and
yeah,
my brain started thinking because when I walk for like a couple of miles,
yeah.
and you'd be amazed at what you can do in your head, how you can plan your day, the rest of your month or whatever within a 2 mile walk.
So many ahas can happen in the 2 miles,
Yes.
and there are some incredibly well known. I think it was, I'm not gonna. I have for some reason Shakespeare stuck in my head, but there are, deep thinkers and philosophers and famous writers who have attributed some of their biggest ideas to their daily walks. And walking is great because we're also connecting the mind and the body, which are very connected. So things like walking or yoga or Tai Chi, even swimming, where you're getting into a natural rhythm. It's, again, going back to the analogy of our bodies, thinking of our bodies as like a car. When a car is just sitting parked, for weeks or days, weeks, months, it's not going to run very well when you finally start it up. It starts to sort of break down and atrophy. And we're the same way. We're better. I'm not saying train for a triathlon, but the 20 minutes, or if you can aim for a couple of miles, and being outside is way better than being on a treadmill, because you're also getting that the surge of being outdoors with the fresh air, and if we're lucky, sunshine. Movement is really, really important. Even just put on a song and dance. We're talking about Frozen and Baby Shark, but hey, whatever gets you moving. Moving is important. It's all really important. Um, and we were talking before tonight about some tips. There's burnout, and we all have burnout in our lives, regardless of what our profession is. But that can, when left unchecked, and I love how you have the self-care check-in every 6 to 8 weeks. It's so smart. But left unchecked, that can turn into, mental health has a whole other stigma attached to it. Now, if you go for a walk every day and you hurt your knee, you're going to attend to it. Even if that's just icing it and resting it, you're going to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have enough focus on our mental health, which is, there's no shame in that. It's all connected. When we are functioning well on all levels, we are the best we can be for everybody. But without checking our self-care habits and routines, and letting that burnout get too far, can lead to depression and anxiety. And often all of these things that we're talking about, stress, weight gain, not sleeping, anxiety, those are also all signs of depression. So it's very close together. And I would say, some people don't like labels, but just to, we wouldn't tolerate it in our loved ones. And so we shouldn't tolerate it for ourselves. And the analogy that is used all the time, certainly in maternal health and in motherhood, is in caregiving, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You're
Yes.
absolutely no good to anybody else if you're passed out. So you take care of yourself first. And not only that, but we're instilling the positive habits. And for those of us around us, we're showing them the way, right? So we're establishing a routine that really does affect not only our health, but the greater health of the people around us. And
Right.
the last thing, I know we're getting close on time, but another really important piece, because this is a very isolating, caregiving can be very isolating, and it's very selfless.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is staying in contact with your people, find that
I'm going to say
tribe.
that when you're
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, is find that community. And if you're in a situation where you've relocated, or you're single, or whatever it is, and you feel like you don't know who your tribe is, think deep down what it is that you love, and go and do that on your off hours, and meet people who are, find a way to connect. Just go through a hobby, trivia night, a band, a reading room, whatever it may be. Honor yourself, be true to yourself and what makes you come alive. And when you put yourself out there, you will find other people. But most of us have at least one or two people we can call, check in with, and spend time with. And really, really, if you can do it, I don't know, once a week might be too much, but once a month, have a me day, a massage or a pedicure, or just sleep in, whatever that means to you. Binge watch your favorite show. I don't know, sleep for 17 hours. It's really important to, I know, right?
It sounds good, but my body is so programmed at getting up at a certain time. I don't care how late I go to bed or how early in the morning I go to bed. 5:45, I'm like,
yeah, so if you're there, then you can take that time before the busyness of the day really kicks in, and give yourself the gift of a routine and of a ritual that sets you up to be your best that day. Find that we champion all the time. We champion other people as moms and caregivers. We need to, and by the way, that type of person who's doing this work, they're saints, and don't always, people think, oh, they're so strong, they don't need it, they have so much to give to other people. But honestly, we need it, and sometimes we need to be our own cheerleader. And in those luxurious moments that don't need to be super expensive and pampering, self-care doesn't need to be over the top. It just needs to be about you and honoring who you are and what makes you be as amazing as you are.
yes.
And celebrating that.
That's right. You are so right. You are so right.
And the last thing I'm going to say is mindset. Is positive thinking has a huge effect. What we think is how we behave, and it's really connected. So if you can start your day, instead of, we all are very conditioned to think about what's not working or what's not going well. Oh, I did this, but I didn't do that. Well, that's true, but let's focus on what is working and what is going well. Again, it's a little trick that puts our brain, which is really here to serve us. So it's indirectly, we're telling it what to do. And we think negatively, it's thinking, oh, okay, we're going to be in this mode now. Start your day with a celebration. Whatever it is, it could just be, I'm up, I'm awake, I get that peach tea, that tranquil tea in the morning, whatever it may be, and try to close your night with gratitude. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but they work. We're setting ourselves up to be our best. And these are little tools that, if you have to put a Post-it on your forehead, do it. Because it's important. Or right on your bathroom mirror, daily affirmations. There's a reason,
I have said that before. I have them all over my bathroom mirror.
Oh, yeah.
The little post.
Make it a screensaver on your cell phone, find a quote that you like and screenshot it and put it, whatever it is. What we surround ourselves with, and what we bring in, mind, body, spirit, all of that affects us, and it all adds up. So we want to nourish ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and for those who are spiritually too. And spiritual could be just taking a walk. I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about, getting into a place where you feel, that you feel bliss, you feel grateful,
Yes. And there is always something to be thankful for. I remember I try to stay in a positive place. And I always remind my husband, he's like, well, they're not doing this, they're not doing this. I said, well, what are they doing that's right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, there's always something in every situation to be thankful for.
That's right.
And I'm thankful that my dad used to pour into me, and he used to pour words into me and positivity into me. And that's one of the reasons why I have Ask the Nanny, because I want to pour into my sisters and encourage them and tell them, you can do this. You may be in a dark spot right now, but come up out of that. Find something that is happening. Find something that you are grateful for. You may not have the money to, go get your nails done, but at least you have a roof over your head, you have a job, you have whatever it is that you have. Be thankful for it, because complaining, misery loves company, and if you
Yes,
find
and
yourself complaining,
there's no glory in being a martyr. However, it's easier said than done because when you're in the
yes, it
muck,
is.
it's very hard. So, to sometimes step out of it. So, don't be afraid to ask for help either.
Yes,
One of the it can things can feel so isolating, but those times where we feel most in isolation are probably some of the most universal thoughts and feelings and experiences we can have. There's somebody else out there who is willing to lend a hand or share a story or commiserate with you or just whatever that may be. But I think, there's definitely, I mean, going down the negative gloom and doom is not going to help anybody. But when you're there, and if you cannot pivot out of it with whatever is in your toolbox, get some help.
yes,
Whatever that,
yes,
whatever that first point of contact is, bring in your peeps, bring in your tribe, talk to a
ask for help.
healthcare, whatever that is, because we are ultimately all in this together,
Yes, we are.
and it's a bigger tribe and a bigger community than sometimes it feels like when we're in it in those little moments. And it's a I can't really think of anything more beautiful than giving oneself to another person, except having that self compassion to give all of that to yourself as well. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Self love is important. And
yes.
my father used to preach it to me. He said, you know what? You go to work when you're well, you go to work when you're sick, you go to work, you go to work, you go to work, you go to work. But if you don't start taking care of you, there won't be a you around to take care of anybody else.
That's right.
So you have to take and pour into you all the love and the care that you give to those children and to the families or whoever the case may be. Some of us care for elderly people too.
Yeah.
Whatever care that you are giving out to yourself, give to yourself. And Mitches, I love you. I saw all those little swimming, those little icons that you put, the emojis that you put on there. I love you, girl. Um, but if you do not have an accountability partner, I'm going to say it again. Get an accountability partner, somebody who can tell you, um, I don't think you're doing well. I think we need to go here. I think we need to do this. I think you need to get out of the house. I think you need some fresh air. I think you need to do something besides sit here and wallow in what is going on. You need that someone to encourage you, someone who can give you constructive criticism in a loving manner, that sees you like you don't see you. Oh, you don't have one? Here I am. Here I am. And if you don't, and I'm gonna during these checks, these self-care checks, I'm gonna check to see if you have found an accountability partner, because it is so important for you to vent, and not just to everybody on in the Facebook groups, because some things don't need to be in the Facebook group, because things can get screenshotted and sent places and done things. You need somebody that you can talk to, somebody that is in your corner, somebody that will talk you down off the ledge. I have a couple of ladies, well, more than a couple, three or four ladies that can just like, okay, Angela, look, that was a crazy idea. I love that you came up with it, but how about we tweak it and do this and this and this? And I'm like, yeah, that's even better. And it sets my mind down a different road. And I'm off and running again. And I'm not in that place of, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yes, you need one of those, several of those people, because one of them may be busy. And sometimes that one that you go to may need you to come back and talk them down off the cliff, talk them down off the ledge, and bring them back to themselves. So get an accountability partner. Agree to be somebody's accountability partner, and have someone agree to be your accountability partner, so you all can come together and talk together, vent together, and trust each other. Build up a trust. It takes time to build up a trust. And not everybody on Facebook has your best interest or knows your background goals. Exactly, Emily. Exactly. Not everybody on Facebook, because a lot of people on Facebook, they just see, okay, you wrote this one post and this girl must be crazy. So let me tell her how to get her craziness together. And it becomes more offensive than helpful. When I see things and I'm like, and I just keep scrolling, because if I'm not going to be a part of the solution, I don't want to be a part of the problem. Now, if you ask for help or honest opinion, there are ways for you to tell someone your honest opinion without being uh, criticizing, without putting people down, without telling them you must be crazy. How can you stay there? You don't know that person's situation. They may not have told you all the background story because of confidentiality reasons or whatever the case may be. But when you see something written on Facebook and you want to help, if it's a general question and you want to help, then help. Don't hinder, don't put down, don't, you know, they're probably already going through and feeling guilty. You adding to the problem is not helping. Really, it's not. So be more giving than you are taking. So that's all I have for tonight. And again, remember next week we're doing early Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, special guest from London. Yay! I'm so excited. So join me next Tuesday morning. And I know you have probably seen the ads going around, but next Tuesday morning we will have the parent guru herself here. So join us next Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for all the tips. And I'm gonna do that breathing, that bumblebee breathing before I go to bed, because most of the time I can't shut my brain off. And the breathing will help me to focus
Yes,
on not what's going on, what I have to do tomorrow, what I have to do 2 days from now, what I have to do next week. It will help me to focus and say, okay, it's time to go to sleep. It's time to shut it down.
yep,
It's time to cool off, cool down, and get a good night's rest and come back tomorrow morning. Which is
that's
one,
right.
which is one of the reasons why I move my phones away from my bed, because that's what used to keep me up at night. I do sleep better now, but I still have to tell my brain shut down.
Yeah,
So I'm going to try the breathing exercises that you recommended,
yeah.
and the nutrition, and stop doing the stress eating. Whew. Oreos are not my friend. They're not friends to my hips and thighs. I have to keep telling myself that. But yes, I'm getting better at that too. So I'm getting better. I'm getting better, and I want you all to get better and be better. And I will. We will be back in 6 to 8 weeks with another self-care checkup. Just saying, be prepared, because it's coming. And I'm going to check on you, and I'm continuing to check on you, and continue giving you a report on me on how I am doing, because I can't tell you to do something that I'm not doing. So we're going to be accountable to each other. Okay? Everybody good? I will see you all next week. Thank you again, Maria, for being with us, and thank you
It's
for the
my
wonderful
pleasure.
tips, and the for nutrition, and mental health, and
Oh,
physical
yeah,
health, and all that good stuff. And thank you for caring enough about moms, and for about the nanny community, to help us to do better and get better.
that's it. Be well, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks so much for everything and all the information. I am going to start doing the 557. All right.
Woo! Yes.
Yay.
All right.
All
It
right.
takes just 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Minutes.
See,
That's it.
you've already changed several lives.
Chase those lions away. Push them back. We don't need them here.
Yes. Yes. All right. I will
All
see
right.
you all next week. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.